Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Good News York. My name is Noah. Today, we are talking with Nate. Nate, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be back, actually.
Absolutely. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you with?
Yeah, so I'm Nathan Grant. I'm the event coordinator of RetroGameCon. Or one of the event coordinators. I don't want to take anybody's thunder away from them, but we're here to talk about RetroGameCon Spring Edition, which is a little different than our main event in the fall. So excited to be here because I was here to talk about the main con before, and it's nice to be able to tell people a little bit about what makes Spring Edition different.
Yeah, when is it?
So it's this upcoming weekend, May 16th and 17th. This is our first 2-day version of the spring edition. So that's really exciting. Going from 1 day to 2, it's like, more work, but you can have more people, and more attendees, spread out the event schedule more and stuff. And so that, it usually falls around Mother's Day weekend, or weekend after, weekend before. So we've always been around that window every year. Cool. But moving to 2 days is really exciting.
Yeah, no, it sounds exciting. Where can people buy tickets? Just at the beginning here.
So we're sold out on Saturday.
Okay, nice.
We do have a limited supply. Maybe by the time people are even hearing this, the 2 days will be sold because there's a couple 2-day tickets that, people still be able to get there on Saturday. But the Saturday only are sold out. Sunday tickets are still available online. You can get them at RetroGameCon.com. We got a ticket link right there on the website. And all of our event scheduling and stuff is posted on the website as well as our social media. So if there's any questions about what's going on, more than we talk about here, it's all going to be on our website and social media. We're very diligent about putting all the information out there so people aren't going, huh?
Beautiful. Wonderful. Okay, great. Awesome. So let's jump into how is Retro GameCon Spring Edition different than the standard Retro GameCon?
Yeah, so Retro GameCon Fall Edition is like, it's been going for 13 years and, it's had time to mature and grow. And, you always want to one-up yourself year after year. So we're always coming up with new ideas. But we've always wanted to do 2 events a year. And way back post-pandemic, when we had to take a break from the main con, to dip our feet back into the convention scene, we did an event. We partnered with the Museum of Science and Technology here downtown. They had this event called Night Lab, and it was like this little, I think it was like 5:30 to 10 or some, evening event. It was 18 plus. They had food and drinks, and then, we had some vendors. We had, it was just a fun little event, part of a series they did with other events, but for Retro GameCon's involvement, we just tried to make a little con-like experience with that. Because that went really well, we decided, okay, the next year we're going to have our main Retro GameCon back, but maybe we can do something else with the most. So for a couple of years, we had Retro GameCon Junior is what we called it. And it was we called it that because from the video game point of view, there's Donkey Kong Jr., there's Pac-Man Jr., it's like a naming convention you hear, but also because we really just wanted to convey it's Retro GameCon, but just a little smaller scale. All the same things we like to have at Retro GameCon, but just a little smaller event that way we could have 2 a year. But people started to hear Junior and they thought, oh, it must be just like the kid version of the event, right? Retro GameCon Junior. So instead of that naming convention, even though we still liked it, we decided, you know what, why don't we just clear the confusion and call it Retro GameCon Spring Edition? But that same mentality that I mentioned from the beginning, just a smaller scale version of the con, is what we've made sure it was a thing. And in the first couple of years, we didn't even have special guests because it costs a lot of money to fly guests in and stuff. And are you going to make enough to cover their expenses and get to be able to bring them out here and make a profit? Because if we can't bring the guests out here, we want to bring them to every event, but right. it costs so much money to put on an event like this that was like a thing in the first few years that we were like, I don't know if this is going to make logistical sense. But then we realized, one of the reasons we moved away from the most as a venue was being able to sell our tickets, because we just did a combo thing with the most, which was great to bring people in, but we couldn't really make any money to all the money we make with the con anyway goes back into the con. It goes back into paying volunteers and help who make the event what it is, goes into bringing in the guests like I mentioned. You only get so much from like vendor payments and ticket sales. Those things basically are just to cover your butt for the event that you're running. So all that said, the logistics side of the situation is just to explain that, it took a lot of planning, even though in our heads we're thinking, oh, this is a smaller scale event. It still takes just as much planning as the big one. So we did a couple years of the spring edition, rebrand. And last year we sold out on Saturday. Nice. And it was a Saturday only event. We decided, when you think about how do you fit more people in an event, there's the venue itself, and then there's more days, because if somebody doesn't get to go one day, they can go another day. So it pretty much was vital that we made it a 2-day event. And now it's getting to the point, I mean, it's still smaller, but it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, we're almost getting to just 2 cons a year because of how we've been growing it. Like, the big one's always going to be bigger, but it is like, it kind of feels that way, you know, like we've expanded to the point where we have basically 2 full featured cons now. I mean, the guests were really the only thing that we didn't have the first couple of years.
Sure.
We have them now. So
Cool.
It's like, okay, we just have less guests, you know? So.
Cool. Got it. Cool. No, that's exciting though. Cool. So tell me about these guests.
Yeah. So we have 4, like I said, it's not as many, you know, I don't even know the full count of how many guests we've had the past few years at the main con, but it's over 10, and it's, you know, a wide variety of them. So we tried to keep that part of it the same. Like, let's try to get a varied group to come out this time. And so we're really excited to announce. So first one I'm going to announce is we have Alycia Glidewell, who she was the player character in the game Portal. Those games are super popular.
Yeah, cool.
But also she's characters in like Metroid games, Smash Brothers, the Sly Cooper series. And so what's interesting about her coming to Spring Edition is she was originally supposed to come to our fall event, because we had other Portal and Valve game voice actors there, but she wasn't able to make it. So she was super grateful that we reached out and was like, hey, you know, let me know if we can reschedule. And the Spring Edition, we're like, hey, we have another event coming up, you know, if you'd like to come to that one. And, you know, the pieces aligned, and she was able to come out. So it's
Nice.
cool, because not just a first great guest to announce for the event, but it's somebody that we wanted to have at the main event. It's like, you know, we always try to do that. It's like, oh, if something doesn't work out from scheduling or something, we'll reach out next year, you know? So to have it immediately follow up at the next convention is great. So she's in, I used to play the games, they're called F.E.A.R, and they're like a horror first-person shooter. And she was the little girl villain. I can't remember the character's name now, but across the series, which is that standard, you know, Ring-inspired trope from Japanese horror. She's the character in that too. So it's really cool. You know, somebody that I personally played a lot of games that she's in. I always get excited myself, you know, even though I'm helping put this event on. So yeah, super happy to have her. So she's like, you know, a great guest to start out with, but we always try to get new ones that we've never had there before. And we have Kevin Miller, who is the voice of Sly Cooper. So not only is Alycia Glidewell in the Sly Cooper games, but we have the protagonist of Sly Cooper there as well. And he's a great guest. He's going to be super fun. And the Sly Cooper games are such a huge series. It's just cool to have those like tentpole franchise related people there, because it's like, oh my gosh, we have them at our convention. And speaking of tentpole franchises, you can't say video games without thinking about the Mario series. And we have Kenny James, who's the voice of Bowser. So that's really exciting. We had the voice of Mario, the former voice of Mario, Charles Martinet. He was there in 2018, I believe, at the main event.
Cool.
So, you know, it's kind of cool. We've had him, and now, we got the villain. We got Bowser there. And, you know, he just seems like a great guy. He's done a lot of great little video snippets and interviews and stuff before coming to the con to promote it. And we're super excited to have him there. And then the last guest we can announce is somebody that I'm super excited. His name is Daisuke Tsuji, and he is most known for the character of Jin from Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And that's a fantastic game, and he just is such a powerful performance in that role. So to have somebody like that, you know, here is great. But he's also in many other games too. He actually is the current, I think the most recent Mortal Kombat game, Mortal Kombat 1. He's Scorpion, which is, you know, huge, because that's like an iconic character with the Mortal Kombat game. So those are our 4 guests, a pretty good variety. You know, like I said, we tried to retain that element for the Spring Edition, even though we can't bring as many out as we'd like to. So super excited to have them there. And, you know, the guests last year was the first year we had guests at all. And so being able to continue that and expand on it year over year is just another great thing about, you know, continuing to do this again and again.
Wonderful. No, that's great. No, and they come from a wide variety of games, right? Something that kind of appeals to everybody. Yep. I grew up playing Sly Cooper, so that, I mean, it's crazy that that he's coming.
Yeah, and you know,
That's awesome.
What's great about these guests is they interact with the fans. They, you know, sign the actual game. Like, you know, if you I had this game since I was a kid, and you can have the voice actor like sign your actual thing. So getting a picture's fun. You know, meeting them and just having that, you know, a few minutes to talk. And they're always so generous about just like actually interacting and speaking. It's not they're like, here you go, thanks. Here you go, thanks. Right. They're like, you know, let's take some pictures and stuff. Yeah. And it's just, it's so cool to see that, you know. And we have the prices that they are offering for their, you know, different, whether you get something signed or get a photo with them. We have that on the website as well. And they'll have all that information at their tables as well. So.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's got to be for certain people that must like blow their minds, right? Oh man, I grew up playing this game, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and we have a wide variety of events throughout the weekend too. In addition to the vendors and the guests themselves, there we have a stage with a full schedule of events. So a lot of times, and in this case too, the voice actors will do like a panel. So we get like Q&A sessions beyond the, face-to-face that people get to do waiting in line. They can actually sit in and hear a little more information about maybe how the celebrities got started, about, how their career has taken them, a little bit of behind the scenes about the games they worked on. And those are always super fun because you always learn something that, you didn't know about a game you love. And to hear it from the voice cast, or we've had developers and stuff in the past, having those people there to actually tell you their stories is just so cool. It just makes the event elevated more than just like a fun event where I can buy some stuff and, celebrate the hobby. So
absolutely. No, that's incredible. Well, wonderful. What is, when you see, especially like young kids, when they go to this convention for the first time, when they're picking up, controllers that they've never experienced before, when they're learning about this culture that like they probably know Fortnite and stuff, but they don't know the origins of everything. What is it like? What are some of the cool experiences that you see when young people interact?
I'd say the fact that we always put our video game free play at the forefront, whether it's the smaller event or the main fall event, we always like to have tons of games for people to play. We're here to not just celebrate games and buy and collect them, but also be able to play them. And, we try to bring out such a wide variety of stuff that maybe, like you said, generations who didn't get to grow up on these things get a chance to play them. And I say this a lot about the con, but it bears repeating, is that probably the best thing to see is those families, the generations, like mom and dad showing their kids the games they grew up playing, and now they're playing them and they're liking them, and maybe like developing like, oh, I want to get an old console or something. The parents are usually going to be okay with that because they're like, yeah, I'd love to get the old console I had. So that's always the best thing to see, because it's like, it truly shows that this hobby does bridge the gap across generations. And like you said, people who maybe all they play is like Fortnite and Roblox, they go, oh, well, these more curated experiences are good too. I mean, obviously, like, even if it's not my genre of game, I can truly appreciate like the variety that's provided for these generations. Like, they have unlimited freedom basically with the games that are out now to experience it however they want and play however they want. And it's very social and stuff. So that's really cool. But you got to celebrate your roots. And that's what we're doing with RetroGameCon, is celebrating our roots. And, you don't see people going, oh, look how stupid that game is. They're all having fun. Everybody's playing it, no matter how old they are. And it's just, that's something you can't beat. And, being able to bring that, there's the ticket price, but you don't have to pay like you go to an arcade and you have to pay each time you're playing. The games, once you're in, you can play as much as you want. There's, not just gaming consoles, but we have like gaming PCs and stuff too. So it really lets people try stuff that they maybe never have back when they wanted to, or kids who just weren't born yet that get a chance to try the stuff out.
Cool. What games are typically always mobbed?
I mean, the fighting games, anything competitive, fighting and racing, those are going to be mobbed. But, what we tend to see is like, if there's a unique controller or a unique, like, we've had flight sims, we'd have fishing games with a fishing controller. It seems to be those types of experiences that people go, wait, what's that?
Which fishing game?
Yeah. We've had Sega Bass Fishing for Dreamcast. Okay. That's cool. A great one, and we've even brought that to some events. Like, we do events between the conventions at like libraries and stuff. And those are always a hit. Like, people don't expect to see, they expect to see the NES with Mario and stuff. But when they see something like that, it's like, oh, what is that? So, I don't know if those ones are getting mobbed, but, I'd say they're all getting mobbed because our free play is constantly filled with people. You never see people not playing the game. So it's really exciting to just be able to provide that, because, every year that goes on, these old systems, they're getting older and older. They're not making new ones in most cases. So being able to preserve them, and, it might not be the priority of the convention, but, game preservation and, celebrating the hobby in a more like technical side of things and where we came from with it and the roots, like, that's always really cool to be able to do with it, because there's nothing that beats playing on actual hardware. You can set up we could make the con all with like little emulation machines, and that's it. And it would be fine. People would be able to play this stuff. But no, people are playing on the actual old hardware that a lot of times our staff has actually like repaired and modernized with outputs and stuff. So really, really cool to see that.
Very cool. Awesome. So there's like a little refurbishing element to it as well to like make sure everything.
We wouldn't be able to put this convention on without the help of not just our staff who's like, more customer facing, handling tickets and stuff, but all the people who donate stuff, bring their own units in and work it's a lot of work to keep an eye on these things. Oh, what's going on here? Connection went off, or oh, the game, got to blow in the cartridge, you're not supposed to do that, but like those kinds of things that are happening during the con, those are things that like myself and Patrick, the director of the con, we can't like pay attention to all the little details, you know? So knowing that we have a dedicated staff to like maintain all that stuff, which really is such a huge part of the cons. Yeah. That's just invaluable.
Wonderful. Cool. So you've got these speakers coming, you've got the free play. We've also talked a little bit about some of the live events that you have going on. What other elements are there? There's vendors and things as well.
Yeah. So the whole vendor hall, it's one of the most important things, but it kind of goes without saying. You go to a convention, there's going to be vendor booths. So if your goal is to like, I want to find some games for my collection or games I used to have, or, maybe some new games that are out, it's just, there's going to be a lot of selection there. And it's not just games. There's artists, there's, cool crafters and stuff like that. So the vendor variety is always something we really curate and make sure that it's not all game vendors. You know what I mean? It's going to have stuff for everybody, all ages, and hardcore to casual gamers. Like, you're going to have a good time there. So that's like a staple. That's why I don't really talk about it too much, because it's like we just always like that's like the baseline, but it's a huge part of it. So I'm glad you mentioned it. Another thing that's very important to us is our charity element with RetroGameCon. We always do raffles and other charity events and even direct donations if people choose to do so at both RetroGameCon and RetroGameCon Spring Edition, where all the money goes to a charity called Extra Life, which is a gaming-related charity. First of all, that's cool. Nice. But what's great is they work with Children's Miracle Network hospitals, and they work with Upstate Golisano here in Syracuse. So being able to have their the charity elements like important to us, just it warms our heart to be a part of any charity. And there are a lot of great charities that we've worked with in the past too, but finding Extra Life and knowing it directly impacts a Syracuse hospital is just awesome. That's, unbeatable. And, we always, throughout the year, we get great donations. People, donate stuff because they know it's going to go to charity. And so these raffle baskets and stuff that people enter to win, they're like, oh my gosh, look at this cool, like, and we'll theme them, there might be, because we have a lot of tabletop and board game stuff in addition to video games, so there might be like some D&D or tabletop stuff, TCG games and stuff, so it's like, oh my gosh, I want to get this raffle. And, you just see people over there like excited at what we have, and knowing it all is going to charity just means so much. So that's something I always like to mention at both our events. We do that. And yeah, it's no different here at RetroGameCon Spring Edition. It's something we like to make sure we have there.
Wonderful. Well, cool. Over the years, I'm assuming you've learned a lot. Each con has taught you probably something different, and it's made the experience better. What do you think has changed the most since the beginning to what RetroGameCon is now, even the Spring Edition?
Yeah, because it's not just our event year over year where we learn, but we go to other events. We're really close with a lot of other showrunners in other states and stuff like that. And I don't know, I think the biggest takeaway is, what is it that people want? What's the experience they want to have at this, And, there's a lot of events, video games or otherwise, like could be Comic-Cons and stuff, that are really good, but they just are the same every year. It's Comic-Con's back, and it's like, yep, here it is. It's, whatever city Comic-Con, you go there and you know what to expect. What we try to do with RetroGameCon is always have something new, like, oh, I didn't know they had that, or oh wow, that's cool, like, interactive things. We've tried to do a lot of stuff like that, and I think that's one thing where, even though we don't have the full on center for Spring Edition, this is our first time having Spring Edition at the on center where we do our main thing, so we're super comfortable with the on center. We know how it works. It's kind of a well-oiled machine, even though it doesn't seem like it when we're in our shoes the day of the events, a chicken with their head cut off situation, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, we've learned what works, and we can kind of scale it up or scale it down. So even if we don't have the 2 floors of the on center, and the panel rooms, we're like, no, we know we can make, we can have panels on the stage. We can have this area over here. We're definitely gonna have free play. That's gonna go here. And, a lot of thought goes into the layout and where we want to put things so people can just come in and, that's the thing we notice. People just enjoy the whole con. There's not like, oh yeah, the person who comes and goes because they just check out their one thing. I'd say the one thing I've learned more than like a takeaway from the other cons and learning is just an observation, is seeing that, compared to other cons, I think people stick around at RetroGameCon more.
Cool.
And I think that's a testament to the hard work of trying to make an event that has variety, that has fun things to do, and isn't just hey, I found my 5 games and now I'm going to go home, or I met my celebrity and I'm going to go home. You're always going to have people like that, but I just think, because we put so much work into having enjoyable things all weekend long, that's the other thing. We're on 2 days for spring this year. We can bring an element of the main event to spring edition, which is having stuff that makes it so people want to come more than one day. There's people that, just, I got to see the whole thing. That, there's a panel I want to see on Sunday or something like that. So it's those are some of the learnings too. It's just like not only what makes the event cool, but what makes it, something that people are going to want to, travel to. And, that, I guess that opens up another thing. Having 2 days doesn't just give us more attendee coverage, but it also lets people who might be from farther away go, you know what? I can get a hotel room now.
Cool.
We'll go the first day. We can stay, get some food in the area, and then come the second day. So it really makes a lot of sense to do 2 days. It's just you can't just like go right into it. You have to we're planning an event like this. It's only because we've learned so much over the years that it's been able to allow us to do that. So
beautiful.
So very exciting.
Well, that is very exciting, and I don't know, it's the right way to do it, right? Too. It's like you build that tight following. You do it for a few years, just one day, right? And then you grow as
and now we all have this thing that's like, it's so important to us, it's not just an event we're putting on and cool, we did it. It's like, no, this is, like I said, our baby. Like we put this on year after year and learn so much that now it's like, we just are constantly thinking, what can we do to make this better and better? And seeing it, nothing beats day of or weekend of seeing how many people have come out and we're like, I feel like I'm an attendee when I'm there, but it's like, no, this is something I helped put on. But it's because it's so enjoyable that I'm not even thinking of it like that. I'm just thinking it like, this is a cool, I would definitely go to RetroGameCon if I wasn't from here and working on it. So very, very cool.
Cool. I have one last question for you, but before I ask it, is there anything else that we did not touch on that you want to touch on?
No, I mean, it's, there's so many granular details we could go into, but I think it's just, everybody comes to the con with different things they want to do. Check out our social media, check out our website, see what we have planned for the weekend. You can really map out like, I'm going to do this and do that. And so, I think we covered the new things that we've added and what makes this year different, but, and even what makes spring different than our main event. But I think it really just comes down to, what people want to do. They have a variety of stuff they can choose from. So I think we covered up pretty much.
What are those social handles and that website one more time?
Yeah. So it's easy. It's RetroGameCon, all one word. So it's RetroGameCon.com for our website. And then we're on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We have a Discord that people can join and, talk about the con ahead of time. That's a really good newer thing we've added over the last couple of years to just have people, more of a community behind just the, not the weekend of. People are talking about the con all year long. And they're like, going over the guest announcements little by little. Each time we announce something, people can talk about it right then and there. They don't have to wait until the event.
Yeah.
So cool. So yeah, all our social media is just RetroGameCon, and we got all the info that they could want on there. Very good.
Okay, my last question. What is your best game? Like, what game are you the best at?
Best at is different than what is the best game for me. I have a lot of nostalgia I actually was a Sega kid growing up, so even though I love Nintendo and stuff, there's just something about, I got a Sonic the Hedgehog tattoo on here,
sick.
And I got it because my sister bought me, when I was 5, which I'm thinking like, would I do this if I had a 5-year-old brother? Her and her boyfriend bought me a Sega Genesis with Sonic, so like, I wouldn't even be into the hobby if it wasn't for that. And I guess I'm pretty good at Sonic, so I'll choose that one, even though the series has kind of had its ups and downs since the originals. That's always a good one. I used to love Halo. I got a lot of Halo tattoos too, but I'm not good at it anymore. So that's why when you were like, best at, I'm like, no, not Halo.
Well, that one's
used to be good.
Because people who are good at Halo are so good at Halo that you can't be okay at Halo. Yeah. Like, they just destroy
And games
you.
In general, I think competitive gaming has just gotten more sweaty. It doesn't matter what it is.
Oh, yeah.
The casual, like, hop on and mess around in Halo. No, the games that, and I don't know, you can't even blame, like, a single game. It's not like Call of Duty is why. Because Call of Duty was more casual back in the day, too. I think it's just there's streamers now. There's people not just playing, but the people who watch watch the streamers, they get into the whole competitive nature, and there's exploits and stuff.
Yeah,
so I think it's
meta
just,
and,
people get more into it. So yeah, so I like I said, I have a lot of nostalgia for old Sega games, but Halo, even though I gotta say it's gone astray lately, it's not as good as it was back in the day, but it'll always be a place in my heart.
Cool. Well, wonderful. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to it. I will be there, and I'm very excited, and it should be a lot of fun. And cool. I really hope I get to meet Sly Cooper.
Yeah, you will. He'll be there.
I'm so excited. Well, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This is Good News York. My name is Noah Chrysler. If you are interested, we are filming this out of our new studio here at Clickstream Studios. It is in the old Spaghetti Warehouse location, and it's at 689 South Clinton Street, East Clinton Street. North Clinton Street, 689 North Clinton. Guys, as part of our launch here, we are doing free marketing plans. We will help you by generating a free marketing plan for you. I will sit with you, talk to you about your business, learn about all of your goals for about 45 minutes or so. I will take all of that information. I will do a bunch of research on my own, and I will put together a free marketing plan that you can then use on your own, or if you choose to, you can use that with us if you are interested. You can get one of those free marketing plans by visiting call.clickstreamstudios.com. Once again, my name is Noah Chrysler. This is Good News York. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Ads on the Go. Get adsonthego.com. You guys are great. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.